They were locked inside a maximum security prison, serving life sentences with no chance of freedom, and somehow they walked out. In June 2015, 2 convicted killers escaped from Clinton Correctional Facility in Danamora, New York. The prison was one of the most secure in the entire state. It housed violent offenders, men serving life sentences, men who were never supposed to see freedom again. Richard Matt was 48 years old. He was serving 25 years to life for kidnapping and murdering his former boss in 1997. After killing him, Matt dismembered the body and disposed of it in a river. David Sweat was 35. He was serving life without parole for killing a sheriff's deputy in 2002 during a robbery. He shot the deputy multiple times, leaving behind a devastated family. Both men had violent histories. Both had spent years behind bars. Both knew they would likely die in prison. And that reality may have fueled what came next. Inside the prison, Matt and Sweat worked in the tailor shop. That's where they met Joyce Mitchell. Joyce was a civilian employee, married, in her early 50s. She had worked in the prison for years and was considered dependable. She supervised inmates in the tailor shop, including Matt and Sweat. Over time, Mitchell developed personal relationships with them. Investigators later said that Richard Matt in particular was charismatic, manipulative. He gave Mitchell attention, flattery, compliments, something she reportedly wasn't getting at home. David Sweat was quieter, more methodical, but just as focused. Mitchell later admitted she became emotionally involved. The relationship crossed professional boundaries. Then it crossed legal ones. Mitchell began smuggling items into the prison. Small things at first, then tools, hacksaw blades, drill bits, hidden inside frozen hamburger meat. The men had already begun studying the layout of their cells and the surrounding walls. At night, while correctional officers made rounds, Matt and Sweat started cutting. They worked slowly, carefully slicing through the steel walls behind their bunks. They covered the holes with cardboard and paint. They timed guard patrols. They practiced. This went on for months. Once they cut through the back wall of their cells, they accessed a narrow catwalk. From there, they climbed through pipes and utility spaces. They studied ventilation systems, they memorized turns, they navigated dark corridors most inmates never saw. They even installed a makeshift steam pipe to avoid triggering temperature sensors. On the night of June 5th, 2015, they made their final move. Before leaving, they staged their beds, clothes stuffed under the blankets to look like sleeping bodies. They left taunting notes behind. Then they crawled through the maze of tunnels, climbed through a pipe, and pushed up a manhole cover outside the prison walls. They were free. It wasn't until morning count that officers realized something was wrong. 2 beds, no inmates. The prison immediately went into lockdown. What followed was massive. Over 1,000 law enforcement officers joined the search. Helicopters circled overhead. Tracking dogs scanned the woods. Residents were told to stay inside and lock their doors. The prison sits near dense forests near the Canadian border, a perfect hiding place. For 23 days, Matt and Sweat evaded capture. There were reports of stolen food, broken into cabins, boot prints in mud. The entire region was on edge. Meanwhile, investigators began questioning staff. That's when Joyce Mitchell's role unraveled. She had agreed to be the getaway driver. The plan was for her to meet them after the escape with supplies and a vehicle. But that night, Mitchell panicked. She later said she felt overwhelmed, afraid, and checked herself into a hospital instead. She never showed up. The men were on their own. On June 26, Richard Matt was located in a wooded area near Malone, New York. He was shot and killed by a tactical team. 2 days later, a state trooper spotted David Sweat walking along a rural road. When Sweat tried to flee, he was shot twice, but survived. He was taken back into custody. The manhunt was over. Joyce Mitchell was arrested. She later pleaded guilty to promoting prison contraband and criminal facilitation. She was sentenced to prison. The escape exposed serious security failures. It raised questions about oversight, staff relationships with inmates, and how 2 life sentence killers were able to exploit the system. For 23 days, 2 men who were never supposed to leave prison were walking free. Maximum security didn't stop them, and one prison employee's decisions changed everything.